Before we begin, please note this is meant for entertainment. Now, imagine this. A Hollywood legend known for facing danger on screen steps into a lively daytime talk show. Clint Eastwood, a man who stood tall in westerns and delivered deep stories on film, is now sitting across from a group of talk show hosts who think they can challenge him. It starts off like any other celebrity guest spot. A movie star shows up to discuss a new project and share what he's learned over the years. But beneath the smiles and soft lighting, something more serious is brewing. What should have been a friendly chat about storytelling is turning into a confrontation no one expected, especially the audience watching from home. Clint Eastwood's name carries weight, like thunder rolling across the sky. His face, shaped by time and stories, reminds us of classic westerns and powerful dramas. Across from him sits Behar, bold, sharp, and always ready to stir things up when the cameras are rolling. She doesn't see Clint as just another guest, she sees a chance to make a point. The room is ready for something big. The lights shine too bright. The claps seem too loud. Behind every friendly grin, there's a spark that could turn into flames. Viewers have no idea what they're about to witness. Right now, the hosts act like everything's normal. Whoopi Goldberg is calm, preparing to welcome Clint with her usual warmth. Sarah Haynes leans forward, clearly excited to talk with him. But to the left, Behar waits, smiling in a way that doesn't reach her eyes. The man known for quiet strength and deep stories walks into a space built on light chatter and celebrity gossip. He's here to talk about themes like redemption and truth. But soon, those very ideas will be challenged. The big question is, when a film legend meets a sharp-tongued TV host, who will come out stronger? The music fades, the applause fills the room, and the real show begins. Whoopi rises a bit in her seat, her voice clear and welcoming. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the legendary Clint Eastwood. The crowd cheers loudly, some even whistle. For a second, it feels more like a movie premiere than a talk show. Clint walks in, calm and confident, without needing to say a word. His steps are slow, his posture easy. Yet, everyone watches him. He sits down, his hands resting quietly, his eyes scanning the group in front of him. "Thank you for having me," he says. His voice, rough with age, hushes the last bits of applause. Whoopi smiles and starts off kindly. "So Clint, tell us about your new film. What pulled you into this story?" Clint leans in slightly, his eyes serious. "It's about second chances," he says. "Sometimes people need another shot, even when the world's given up on them." The audience nods, murmuring their agreement. Sarah can't help but get closer, clearly touched. "That's such a moving idea. At this stage in your career, how do you choose what stories to tell?" Clint doesn't pause. "I look for what feels real. Hollywood has enough make-believe. I want to show something true, something that speaks about what it means to be human." His words stay in the air, and the audience listens closely. The talk flows easily for a few minutes. Clint shares his thoughts on directing, helping actors, and what decades in film have taught him. His tone is gentle, thoughtful, and full of meaning. The hosts pay attention, their questions respectful. It feels like they're listening to a wise teacher. The audience is also fully focused. No one's on their phone. Everyone watches quietly, pulled in by a man who's shaped the world of movies. It's like a special lesson happening live on TV. But not everyone is caught in the moment. Behar sits still, her lips curled into a half-smile that doesn't seem friendly. Her hands are folded, but her eyes flash with something else, something more calculating. She hasn't said a word yet. But her silence feels heavy, like something is building. It's the still moment before thunder hits. Each warm laugh, each talk of second chances, feels like a string being pulled tighter and tighter. The audience, enjoying Clint's wisdom, doesn't notice the tension just a few feet away. But Clint does. Maybe it's his instinct, the same one that helped him beat the bad guys in his films. Or maybe it's how Joy's smile doesn't change. Whatever it is, Clint senses a shift coming. For now, he continues speaking about art and truth. The audience hangs on every word, not realizing that once Joy speaks, everything is about to change. The discussion is smooth, the energy light, the mood respectful. But underneath it all, the storm is gathering. It feels like something rare is happening, a quiet, thoughtful moment on a talk show that's usually full of jokes and gossip. Then suddenly, everything shifts. Joy Behar sits up straighter, her polite smile now sharper, more serious. She tilts her head, eyes glinting with a different kind of energy. "Clint," she says, her voice slicing through the room like a knife through cloth. "Can I ask you something?" The room stiffens instantly. Her tone isn't friendly or curious, it's heavy, and everyone can feel it. "You speak a lot about truth and second chances," she continues, her words carrying weight. "But don't you think some of your past comments about certain political figures go against that message?" The words hang in the air, heavy like smoke. The crowd falls silent. Sarah shifts in her seat. Whoopi glances at Joy with concern, but the moment has already changed. Clint slowly turns toward Joy, his eyes narrowing just a little, enough to say he's ready. The gentle storyteller is gone. Now sitting in his place is the man people remember from decades of powerful roles. The kind of man whose quiet stare speaks louder than shouting ever could. "Which comments are you referring to, Joy?" he asks, his voice steady, cool, but firm. Joy's smile returns, sweet on the surface but edged with something sharper. "Oh, you know," she says, dragging the words out. "Your support for some political folks who've said pretty awful things about women and minorities." The air drops a few degrees. A quiet murmur rolls through the crowd. Even the camera crew pauses. Hands hover over controls, frozen. Everyone knows, the tension is no longer hidden. "It's here," Clint answers calmly, his tone still polite, but with an iron edge. "I don't remember saying anything against women or minorities." Joy leans forward, her voice ready to pounce. "Maybe not directly. But by supporting them, you send a message." Just like that, the calm breaks. The fire has started. Joy pushes harder, louder now, using the tension in the room to press her case. "Don't you think your endorsements speak louder than you realize?" she challenges, raising her eyebrows, daring him to disagree. The rest of the panel looks uncomfortable. Whoopi lowers her gaze. Sarah nervously plays with her note cards. None of this was planned. Clint leans back, his posture calm but strong, like a sheriff ready for a showdown. He stares at Joy, his eyes steady and cold as ice. When he speaks, his words are clean and sharp. "Young lady," he says, his tone even, "I've been in this business longer than you've been alive. I've worked with people from all walks of life. I don't judge by party or label, I look at character." Joy flinches at the words. "Young lady?" Her expression tightens. "Excuse me," she says, her voice rising. "I have every right to ask tough questions." "And I," Clint replies, still calm, "have every right not to answer questions meant to stir trouble, not conversation." The crowd gasps. Joy's face turns red, but she doesn't back down. Instead, her voice rises sharp and clear. "These aren't gotcha questions. I'm asking about things you've said publicly. That's journalism." Clint gives a soft chuckle, not loud, but it carries more weight than a shout. "Is that what it's called now? Journalism?" he says. "In my day, journalism meant doing research, telling the truth, not fishing for headlines." The studio goes quiet. Cameras hold still. Joy's eyes flash. "Well, there was that empty chair thing," she says smugly, trying to score a point. Clint's face flickers, not with regret, but with recognition. He lowers his voice. "You mean when I used a symbol to talk about responsibility?" "Yes, I remember." Joy leans in, feeling a win. "Don't you think it came across a bit unhinged?" Her tone is mocking. The room feels frozen. Everyone holds their breath. Clint sits up straighter. His voice sharpens, carrying that familiar strength. Joy, let me ask you something. She looks startled. How many films have you made? She blinks. That's not the point. I'm a TV host. Clint cuts in. How many movies have you directed? Produced? Starred in? How many Oscars have you won? How many careers have you helped start? How many stories have you told that made people feel something? Joy scrambles to answer, her voice high and defensive. I entertain people every day on this show. Clint tilts his head, eyes narrowing. Do you? Because from here, it looks like you corner guests and start drama for attention. Is that what you call entertainment? The words slice through the air. No applause. No clapping. Just stunned silence. The tension presses down on everyone in the room. This is no longer just an interview. It's a battle. And Clint Eastwood is not backing down. Joy Behar doesn't give up. Her voice grows louder, her jaw tightens, like she believes raising the volume might shift things her way. I have every right, she says boldly, to ask the hard questions to any guest who sits in that chair. Clint doesn't blink. His body remains still, his face unreadable. But when he speaks again, the air turns cold. And I, he says calmly, have every right not to answer so-called questions that are more about causing drama than having real conversations. Joy leans in, nearly out of her seat now, her voice shaking with anger. Gotcha questions? I'm doing my job, Clint. I'm holding you accountable. That's what journalism is. Clint chuckles softly, not mocking, but clear. The kind of laugh that says more than a full speech. That's what we're calling it now, he asks. Journalism? In my day, that word meant facts, research, and truth. Not surprising someone on live TV just to create a scene. The audience lets out a soft sound, not quite gasping, but close. Everyone feels the weight of what's being said. Joy's face turns red. She fights to stay in control. This isn't an ambush. It's called doing my job. You've made controversial statements before, and I won't pretend they didn't happen. Clint leans forward just slightly, dropping his voice into that deep-toned movie fans know well, the one that once made villains tremble. No, Joy, he says. You're not asking because you care about truth. You're asking because you want a viral moment. The words land hard. The whole studio seems to hold its breath. Whoopi gently tries to step in, her voice soft. Maybe we should go back to the film, Clint. But Joy waves her off. Her tone is sharp, cutting. No, I think this matters. He shouldn't expect easy questions. Clint looks straight at Joy again, calm and clear. I didn't come expecting easy questions. I came expecting real ones. There's a difference. He pauses, then adds with quiet strength. A real question looks for understanding. What you're doing is stirring up mud and calling it meaning. That's when Joy explodes. Her voice climbs to a near shout. You think you can come on my show and tell me what substance is? Clint's eyes narrow just slightly, a spark of steel showing beneath his calm. Then he delivers a line that hits like a hammer. This isn't a show anymore, Joy. It's a circus. And you're the head clown. The sound that follows is a sharp intake of breath from everyone watching. Hosts freeze. The audience sits wide-eyed, stunned. Even Joy looks thrown off. Her mouth opens, but no words come. For the first time, she seems caught without a response. The silence hangs thick in the room, almost heavy enough to feel. Clint doesn't follow up with more jabs. He doesn't need to. He just sits there, calm, centered, like a man who knows he's already said enough. The first round is over, and everyone watching knows it. The balance has shifted. Clint Eastwood isn't just holding his ground. He's owning it. Joy tries to gather herself again. Her voice shakes but stays loud. This is my house, she says, gripping the table like she needs it to stay steady. These are my rules. If you don't like the questions, maybe you don't belong here. The words try to sound powerful, but the cracks are showing. Her voice quivers. Her breath is short. And across from her sits Clint, still and calm, watching her like someone who's seen many storms, and outlasted them all. He doesn't respond right away. Instead, he slowly rises from his chair. Every inch of him moves with calm control. The studio seems to shrink under his presence. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. Just standing up shifts the energy in the room. When he finally speaks, he looks not at Joy, but at the camera. Folks, he says, addressing the viewers at home, I came here today to talk about a film. A story that means something to me, about second chances. But instead, this turned into someone trying to score points with loaded questions. That tells you a lot about what passes for television now. The audience stays silent, completely focused. Joy tries to jump back in, desperate to keep control. Don't you dare, she begins. But Clint cuts her off without even turning her way. You say this is your house, Joy. He continues. And maybe it is. But take a good look at what that means. In your house, guests are ambushed. In your house, disagreement is treated like disrespect. In your house, making noise is more important than finding truth. He pauses again. This time the silence feels even louder. Well, he finishes with calm finality. Congratulations. You've built quite a house. No one applauds. No one dares. The silence says it all. Joy's hands tremble slightly. She tries to reply, but when she opens her mouth, her voice is weak. You can't just talk to me like that. But Clint is already stepping back, quietly taking back the moment. He looks at her once more, his face still, voice soft. Joy, he says, I don't have to talk down to you. You've already done that to yourself. The studio falls into a silence so complete that even the quiet hum of the studio lights can be heard. The room has changed. The power has shifted. Clint Eastwood isn't just winning a debate, he's rewriting the rules. Joy Behar is shaking now, not from fear, but from pure anger. Her voice rises to a near scream as she slaps her hand on the table. You can't just come on my show, insult me, and walk out like it's nothing. Clint doesn't react. His eyes stay on her, steady, calm, unshaken. His voice is low but cuts through the room like a blade. I didn't come here to insult anyone, Joy. I came to talk about a film. You're the one who turned this into something else. Joy's hands are trembling. She points a finger at him, voice cracking. Security! She yells, the panic in her voice clear. Get security in here! The crowd gasps, confused. It sounds like a joke, calling security on a man in his 90s, who's done nothing but speak his mind. Clint laughs softly, not mocking but real. Security? He says with a smirk. What are they gonna do, Joy? Arrest me for hurting your feelings? The line hits hard. Some in the audience shift, unsure whether to react. The whole room is frozen between shock and disbelief. Joy stammers, trying to find her words again. This is live TV, she says desperately. You can't just walk off because you don't like the questions. Clint, now removing his microphone slowly, answers like it's the easiest thing in the world. Can't I? He replies, calm as ever. The way he unclips the mic, slow, deliberate, feels like a gunslinger putting away his weapon after a duel. He stands tall and straightens his jacket. Then, he turns toward the camera. His eyes look straight into the lens, speaking directly to viewers at home. Folks, he says again, voice clear, I came here today out of respect. I wanted to share a story about redemption and second chances. But instead, I walked into a setup, a scene made just to go viral. That's not conversation. That's not journalism. That's just noise. The studio stays dead quiet. Not a single word from the audience. Not from the other hosts. Even the crew stands frozen, realizing this moment is much bigger than a regular episode. Joy tries once more. Her voice shrill, full of rage. "You arrogant has-been. You think you can just come in here and tell me how to do my job?" Clint stops. Turns. His eyes now sharper than before. His tone doesn't rise, but it grows colder, more precise. "Has been?" he repeats slowly. That's rich, coming from someone whose entire career is built on talking about what other people have done. Another gasp ripples through the room. Joy's face turns deep red. Her lips move, but no sound comes out. For the first time, she is completely speechless. Clint looks at her for just a moment longer, then gives a tiny nod. It's not a nod of pride, it's the nod of someone who knows the fight is over. He turns away from the table, heading for the studio exit. His boots echo on the floor. The cameras follow him in profile, capturing the image of a man walking away, calm, tall, and unbothered. There's no music. No applause. Just silence. The kind of silence that fills a room after something unforgettable has happened. He walks out, leaving behind a stunned set of hosts, a speechless Joy Behar, and a room full of people who won't forget this moment. Joy clutches the table like it's the only thing keeping her grounded. For a long time, no one moves. No one speaks. No sound at all. Not even the usual rustling from the audience. It's like time has stopped. Whoopi looks down at her hands, not saying a word. Sarah nervously fidgets with her note cards. Around them, the crew glances at one another as if asking, "Did that really just happen?" Joy sits frozen, her chest rising and falling. Her eyes darting around like she's looking for a way to undo what just happened, but there is no way. The cameras are still rolling. The audience saw it all. And nothing she says now will take it back. In that thick silence, one truth stands clear: Clint Eastwood didn't just win a debate, he rewrote the whole moment. With calm words and steady eyes, he showed that real power doesn't need to shout. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. He simply stood tall, spoke truth, and walked away untouched. The room still hasn't moved. The silence stretches on. Not a word from the audience. Not a whisper from the crew. Even the hosts seem unsure of what to do next. It's as if everyone is frozen in place, trying to understand what they just witnessed. Joy Behar sits stiffly in her chair. Her face is flushed red, her breathing heavy, her eyes searching for something, anything, to help her take back control. But it's too late. The cameras are still on. The viewers at home have seen everything. And no matter what she says now, the truth is already out there. Clint Eastwood didn't just walk into that studio and defend himself. He calmly stood his ground, made his points with quiet strength, and walked out untouched. He didn't yell. He didn't argue. He simply showed the difference between making noise and making meaning. Joy tries to speak, but her voice fails. Her lips move, but no sound comes. For the first time, the woman known for having something to say about everything has nothing left. No punchline. No quick comeback. Just silence. As the moment settles, one thing becomes clear: the headlines won't be about her so-called tough questions. They won't praise the ambush or celebrate the tension. Instead, they'll remember what Clint Eastwood did, how he stayed calm, how he stayed clear, and how he walked out stronger than when he came in. This wasn't just a heated moment on live TV. It became something bigger. A moment that showed the power of quiet confidence. A moment that exposed how chasing outrage can backfire. Clint didn't need to fight. He just needed to speak with truth and walk away. And that was enough. Joy Behar, usually quick with her words, is left with nothing. Just silence. And that silence says more than any final line she could have delivered.